Okay, we're good to go. So welcome, hello. We're on another day of spoilers for Core 2021. Yesterday we just talked a little bit about the things that we knew from the core set and a few of the, well, quite a few of the cards. I did not go into the leaked cards because I would just get back on them when they were released, and I actually missed that two of them were released, so I'm just putting them on this one. I apologize in advance for my English and any glitches there might be with the audio. This is actually not connected with the computer, it's connected to my phone, and then from my phone through my Wi-Fi it's going to my computer. It's just the way that I've made it work for now. Eventually, probably I'll get a better setup, but for now that's what we have to work with. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Gon, as it's spelled over here. It's short from Gonzalo, which is my actual name. You can find me on YouTube. If that's where you're watching this video, then you already knew that. You can find my YouTube by looking for my name, which is Gonzalo Rodriguez, which I will not bother spelling for now, as most likely the people that are watching this on YouTube already. And you can also find me on Twitch if you're watching this on YouTube. My Twitch is Gone to the Arcade. Just one word. I'm gonna just drop the link on the description here. I stream sometimes. I do drafting. Pretty much that's all I do. But I will at some point run out of gems and coins, so I might end up filling up with a bit of jank, which I enjoy a lot as well. I have been a bit disenchanted with the meta since companions came out, mostly because they I think they narrowed the field a lot, and I don't think that the solution that they came up with will change that a lot, although there's a card from yesterday that might help that on white. I think it's one on a white, can't remember the name, but if you check the video you will find it. So let's just move on to actually just one more thing that I wanted to say, because today there's only like 8 cards that have come up, and that's including the 2 that I missed that were available from before. I'm just gonna mention that the Core Set 2021 is coming out alongside, sort of, a new product that is called Jumpstart. That's a product that I'm actually very interested in. It's a standalone. It's I think it features 537 cards. I could be wrong, but that's the number that's in my head right now. 500 of which are reprints, and 37 are new cards. And the idea with this, it's a standalone product where you basically, it's kind of like a draft, except you don't draft, you just open the packs and play. It skips the whole drafting and deck building process. You have the booster packs are 20 cards, and among those 20 cards are themed spells and lands. So I believe, at least, I think yeah, it is that way, because you build you mash 2 together, and each booster has one theme, and it has enough cards and lands to work. So when you put them both together, you have a 40 card deck with spells and lands, everything that you need, and you're meshing the themes, and you try to make them work. I think it's gonna have a really high replay value, because basically, I mean, if you buy a booster box, you have 24 booster packs. you're basically gonna grab two at random and mesh them together, and you could have something like I don't know, an Eldrazi Cats themed deck. And then the next time that you play, I mean, you could, once you've opened all the packs, you could just pick two of them at random and just go. And I think the math was something like, out of a 24 packs booster box, you could have over 120 different combinations. So I mean, that's good replay value, right? And it sounds like just a lot of fun and something that you can put together and play with maybe some friends that are not so into Magic, that might not be so familiar with Magic, but they you know, it's a fun starting point. And for those that, you know, have a lot of experience with Magic, it still provides some more light-hearted fun by making this ridiculous decks with themes that you would often probably not see together. And it's coming out on the 17th. So yeah, something that I'm looking forward to. I never thought that I would be willing to spend a lot on paper Magic. As I mentioned on the previous video, I'm new to Magic, mostly because I believe it's an expensive hobby and I never really got into it. And I started playing with Arena because it was free. But this is actually a paper product that I'm more than willing to put my money into. Now, moving back to Core 2021, after a somewhat long and digressive introduction. I don't know if digressive is a word in English. Yeah, I guess it. When I digress, I go to a different subject. So probably, I don't know. It's not my first language. So we have one of the two cards that were leaked that I missed, that they were officially announced yesterday. The first one is Mangara, the Diplomat. For 3 and white, you have a legendary creature, Human Cleric, at Mythic Rare. It has lifelink, and it reads, whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you draw a card. I hear this is probably going to have a very good use in Commander, as I believe that drawing is not among its strengths. For limited, I mean, it's not bad. I don't think it's... I mean, it might be enough of a bomb to pack one, pick one, depending on what else there is. I mean, we still don't know if there might be any good bombs at uncommon or very good removal at common. That might be better than it, but I mean, at 2/4 is a decent body. It has lifelink. In limited, you're most often going to be seeing your opponent use 2 spells per turn. And I mean, it's gonna be they're gonna be attacking you, right? So I can definitely see these giving you decent card advantage. For constructed at current standard, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think for mono white it's very interesting because it's a draw engine. But if white is a secondary color, or you're white and something else, it might just not fit too well. Those, I guess, are my thoughts. Next, we are moving on to Double Vision. So for 3 and double red, you have an enchantment at rare, which reads, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I guess this is kind of like a watered down 1000-Year Storm. It sounds similar. I can't remember by memory the texts from that one, but I believe that one copies it for each spell that you've casted previous to the spell that you're casting. So it doesn't copy the first one, but it copies the second one, and then the third one would be copied twice, and so on. This one only copies the first one. But I mean, it's still pretty good, and I also think the 1,000-Year Storm is going out of rotation in October. So I mean, it's something that will probably fill its place after rotation. 1,000-Year Storm, I have not seen a lot of it in current standard. It's not a bad card, but I guess just the way that the meta is working right now, it's not what you're looking for. As for limited, it's a rare, and it is powerful. I wouldn't call it a bomb, although it goes well with removal. I mean, your removal becomes double removal. So if we get a lot of or just a few unconditional removal spells, it might see some play. Otherwise, I don't know. I think pack one, pick one, you're probably more likely to find an actual bomb or just grab that removal. Moving on, we have Maleficent Cythe. So this was actually on a foreign language. I believe this was the one that was in Spanish. So what I did is I just went to Cardsmith and redid it. So that's why you have the Cardsmith symbol here, and it says custom card. Just ignore all of that. That's if you see a card that reads Cardsmith here, it's just a card that was on a different language, and I just adapted that this way. So Maleficent Cythe is a 1 and a black for an artifact equipment add-on common. It reads, Maleficent Cythe enters the battlefield with 1 soul counter. You can't really read it, but it's there. And equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each soul counter on Maleficent Cythe. And whenever equipped creature dies, you put a soul counter on Maleficent Cythe. It costs, oh, that's a mosquito. 1 to, that's annoying. I'll catch it. It costs 1 to equip, which is pretty good. So 2 to drop it and 1 to equip. It's going to reward decks that it's going to encourage decks to swing often with smaller creatures. I'd be interested to see how many small Death Touchers there are on the set, because it would go really well with those, especially at early game, and then later on, it just makes your creatures really big. If you've already swung with maybe 2 or 3 creatures, it's gonna be a +4 or +3, could be even higher. So I like it. It's cheap to equip, cheap to play, add-on common. I think we'll see a lot of play on limited. As for other formats, honestly, I'm kind of out of the loop, but I don't think it fits what Black has been doing right now, which is sacrifice. I mean, it does in a way that you can equip it, and then when you sacrifice that creature, this gets bigger. I could see it play well with a Corvold sacrifice deck, because then eventually you put it on Corvold and you have an even bigger swing in the air and can probably just go for lethal. Also right now it makes your Mayhem Devils bigger if necessary, but then again you're gonna be paying 1 to equip it onto the creatures that you're sacrificing. So I don't know. I think sack decks have better things to do with their mana. So I'm not sure it's gonna see a lot of play in Constructed. Next up we have Tidal Whale, another card that was done in Cardsmith, so the text, you will forgive me, is not really fitting into the box. That's not my fault. That's just the way it came out. Tidal Wave is a 5 blue and blue for a creature whale at uncommon that says creatures your opponent controls get -1/-0, and it's got a 7/7 body. So I mean, it's a pretty good creature for when you're deep into the game. But more importantly, it has 1 and a blue, discard Tidal Whale. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and then the other into your graveyard. So I already think from Liliana that there will be graveyard shenanigans going on this set. So it's not unthinkable to see this on a blue-black deck, or it might even be splashable in blue, because if you have graveyard recursion, you're paying 1 and a blue to discard it, look at the top 2 cards, so draw 1 and mill yourself for 1. So 1 and a blue for milling yourself 1 and drawing 1 is already good in most decks, actually. But even more so if you're interested in graveyard recursion. And even though, I mean, maybe the card that you drop into your graveyard is not so interesting, but this one is. You could, we'll have to see, you know, what kind of graveyard recursion is there, but I can see this going into a black deck with recursion and being able to drop it in the graveyard early and be able to cheat it out of the graveyard for less than the 7 mana that it would actually cost. And because the discard only costs 1 and a blue, you can actually splash it. You don't, I mean, it's 5 and double blue, which is not so easy to splash, but with graveyard recursion it becomes very, very splashable. I'm looking forward to giving that a try. For constructed and other formats, I will for now withhold comments, as my experience in recent months or months is not very vast. We move on to a reprint, which is Rewind. This is a really nice card. For 2 blue and a blue, you have an instant at uncommon, which reads counter target spell. Just counter target spell. And you get to untap up to 4 lands. So essentially, you cast it for free. If you cast it on your opponent turn, which you will most often probably do it that way, it's not as useful unless you have other instant stuff or flash stuff to do with that mana. I can definitely see this going into constructed in flash decks, actually. For limited, we will see how much flash there is. If there's enough flash to support it, it might be very good. But even without the flash, it's pretty good. You can counter something that the opponent does in your turn, so you can actually counter their counter and untap your land so that you can actually still do what you wanted to do on that turn. Moving on, we have Fungus Rebirth. For 2 and a green, you have an instant at uncommon, which reads return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If a creature died this turn, create 2 1/1 green Saproling creature tokens. Okay, so it's not really graveyard recursion because it's graveyard to hand and not to battlefield. But it's still pretty decent, and if a creature died this turn, create 2 1/1 green Saproling creature tokens. I mean, it's just a matter of playing it when the timing is right, and then you got 2 chump blockers, which is good enough. Definitely think it will be seeing some play in limited. Not like highly coveted card, but definitely playable. Next we have Necromancy. For 1, a black and a black, we have a sorcery at rare, which reads: choose a card name other than a basic land card name, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name, and exile them. That player shuffles their library, then creates a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each card exiled from their hands this way. From their hands, so not the graveyard, not the library. It's basically Unmoored Ego in mono black. I can see this being more interesting in Constructed, probably as a sideboard card. I think it's definitely better than Unmoored Ego, because Unmoored Ego gives the opponent cards, and this one gives the opponent creatures, which are also not very good creatures. So definitely, a good card for Constructed. In Limited, I mean, best of 3 again. A decent rare sideboard card. If there's a lot of graveyard recursion, I mean, it could be good to get rid of that, but I don't think that grants it that's enough merit for it to be main decked. Yeah, another one that's probably here to try to keep Standard Constructed a little bit more under control. Next up we have Cryptic Masterpiece. For 2 colorless, you have an artifact at rare. It reads: tap and put a page counter on Cryptic Masterpiece to scry for 1. Or pay 2 colorless, tap, and then put a page counter on Cryptic Masterpiece and draw a card. Whenever Cryptic Masterpiece has 4 or more page counters on it, exile it. And when you do, you gain, I think it's 4 life. It doesn't show, again, because of Cardsmith, but I'm pretty sure I remember it's 4 life. I mean, it's not incredible. The fact that it's rare probably means we'll not see it a lot in Limited. As for Constructed, I mean, 2 colorless means it can fit almost any deck, and paying 2 to draw a card is not bad. You can do it 4 times and then you get 4 life. So, I mean, for decks that care about card draw, I can definitely see it being an okay card to play. But honestly, I'm guessing this is probably a card that was tailored for Commander or something like that. Commander loves their colorless artifacts, right? Moving on. Are we moving on? I think that's the last one. Yeah, that was the last one. So as you see, not a lot of new cards today. We will see tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have a few more. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about these cards in your comments. If I missed any interesting interactions with them, which I probably did a lot for Constructed, because I was not really thinking about them that way. Let me know which ones you're probably looking forward to brew with. Which ones are you excited to see in Limited? And yeah, I guess this is the end for today. Again, my name is gone, not as in my name has disappeared, but it's actually gone. I like to make puns with my name. That's why my Twitch, where you can find me every now and then, is named Gone to the Arcade. GON to the Arcade. I will post the link on the description, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow for more spoilers for Core 2021. I will now be doing a draft. I'm not sure if I'll be posting that one later on YouTube, so I'll just cut the video here and see you on the next one.